All right, let's talk about something we all do. Every time you log on, you're crafting an identity. You pick the right photo, you share certain thoughts, and of course, you choose a name. It's your digital handshake, the very first thing people see. But what is that name really telling the world? Seriously, take a second and think about it. Your online name. What does it actually say about you? Is it your real name, a nickname from college? Or is it something more aspirational? A version of you that you want to be? Well, one social media post recently blew up by asking this exact question, and it didn't pull any punches. It sparked this huge debate with a really sharp cultural and religious critique of the names people are using on Facebook. So today, we're going to dive in and break down the argument, starting with the first big problem the author called out. So the author points out a few naming trends they see as, well, pretty problematic. And the first one is maybe the boldest of them all. Profile names that basically claim a reserved spot in the afterlife. Yeah, you heard that right. The author points to names that translate to things like heavenly nymph, heavenly woman, or bird of heaven. And of course, you've got the classic angel. The author's point is that these aren't just names hinting at being a good person. They're like a full-on claim of already having achieved heavenly status. And that leads right to the author's main point, which they put out there as this simple but powerful question. Are you for sure? It's a bit of a jab, you know? It questions the confidence, maybe even the arrogance, behind claiming a title that, from their religious point of view, no one alive can actually be sure of. Okay, so the author's second issue moves from the afterlife to the end of this life. They zoom in on a trend of profile names that seem totally fixated on death. Some even sound like they're eagerly waiting for it. So you see names like waiting for death, death is memorable, or traveler on the path of death. And well, yeah, there's a kind of dark, poetic vibe to them. The author argues there's something much deeper and more troubling going on here. And look, the critique here isn't just that these names are morbid, it's that they feel performative. By asking, you're so eager for death, but what deeds have you done? The author's basically saying, this online vibe is kind of meaningless if you haven't actually done the real-world spiritual work to prepare. It's a challenge to look past the name and at the actual substance of your life. The author's third and final critique tackles something that lots of cultures deal with: the use and, let's be real, the misuse of really respected titles. So first, a little context on a key term here. Huzur for men and huzurni for women. In many South Asian Muslim communities, these are titles of huge respect. You'd use them for a religious scholar or someone who is known for being incredibly pious. It's an honor you earn, not just a word you use casually. And this slide just perfectly nails the author's point. They see profiles with names like cute Hazor or romantic Hazor. But then the author claims the stuff these people post is often shocking or inappropriate, what they call na'uz billah, which basically means God forbid. Their plea is simple. Don't disrespect this important title by attaching it to behavior that completely contradicts it. And this goes way beyond just Huzur. It's also about other major titles like Alem or Alema for an Islamic scholar, or Hafez or Hafeza. That's someone who has memorized the entire Quran. I mean, these titles represent years of hardcore study. The author says that in their experience, a lot of people using these names online can't even answer basic questions about Islam, which suggests the titles are being used as a cool label, not as a reflection of actual knowledge. So, okay, after laying out all these different types of problematic names, what's the solution? What's the big idea the author really wants us to walk away with? Well, it turns out to be incredibly simple and direct. The author just asks, haven't you been given a name? Use that name. At the end of the day, this whole thing is really a plea for authenticity. The author's core message is to just ground your online self in your real self. Use the name you were actually given instead of putting on a persona that might be misleading or, in some cases, even deeply disrespectful. And this leaves us with a really big question, doesn't it? I mean, sure, this specific critique comes from one particular cultural and religious perspective, but the question underneath it is totally universal. In this world of curated digital identities, where we're all kind of encouraged to build our own personal brand, where do we draw the line between creative self-expression and just misrepresentation? It's definitely something to think about the next time you go to update your profile.